the mountaintops to the Puget Sound, the Duwamish undergoes many changes. Starting from crystal clear beginnings high in the mountains, the watershed becomes polluted as it flows through our communities. By the time it reaches the lower Duwamish Waterway Industrial Port, the water contains many pollutants and then spills this toxic content into the Sound. Recently, a man in a wetsuit, snorkel, and mask swam to the shore of the Green River at Van Dorn's Landing Park in Kent. As part of the Swim Duwamish event, environmentalist Mark Powell is swimming an 85-mile stretch of the Green and Duwamish rivers. Powell is working to raise awareness to the watershed and the need to protect it from human pollution.
There's a bit of a hole here. Welcome to!
Thank you. I've done the whole thing with 2 segments last fall, then starting again in June, going about once a week and covering 3, 4, 5 miles. Last week I did 7 miles.
Wow.
How far did you go upstream of the dam?
As about 3 miles, because further up than that is too small to swim.
Wow. So how did the habitat look from your knowledge of what fish desire? How was the water quality, the vegetation?
There's a lot, as you can see from here, there's a lot of in-stream vegetation. The river banks, the levees are close in, and so there's not a lot of room for the river to create a lot of diversity. You know, fish like, the messier the river, the happier the fish. You know, log jams and tangles and all that. But I am surprised to see, and you can see a couple logs sticking up there. Everywhere, there's a lot of in-stream structure. There's logs, there's old pilings, there's rocks, variety. So there's more variety than I expected. When I look from here and I see, 2 levees and a channel, I expect it to be just smooth, because I've seen that before. Some rivers where it'll just be almost like a culvert.
Like the current wipes out anything.
But the Green River through here tends to have a lot more structure. And it tends to come from things like logs or little bits of structure. Yeah. It's not ideal, but there is some habitat even in the areas that are confined. And for example, the project that the city and maybe others, I don't know who was in charge, the Riverview with the side channel.
That was with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
So the places where there's more space, where the levees are set back, of course, there's more opportunity for habitat to be built by your projects, but also over time the river will scour and build and cut and deposit, but to create places where the river can spread out.
Well, and Mark, that is what we're working with, the flood control district, King County Flood Control District. We're working with all the different partners, with RIA 9 in this area, and with the tribes that are members of our advisory group. We are working on moving this levee back.
Nice.
And while we move it back, we still are very cognizant of the need for the recreation component. So the park itself will need to be relocated. What's so unique about this Van Dorn's Landing, besides its history of Kent, in fact, Kent is now 125 years old as a city, is this was a very active transport spot. This is where we did a lot of trading in the old days. Yes, and so the hops that Kent was originally known for would be loaded up here. The different products that would go on into Seattle, using the Green River as their port of transportation. So our whole plan of moving the levee back will allow the river to take shape through here.
Nice.
And still provide the flood protection and still preserve the recreation. Plus, we have a natural reserve to the east of us here. So this is the natural migration of the fowls, the birds that come through.
Oh, okay.
And that there we have how many species of birds?
63, 65 species of birds.
Oh, wow.
55 different other mammals. It's an amazing, through over 300 acres. It's a one-of-a-kind facility that the city.
Yes,
used
just
for-
it's connected to this. So it's a huge natural preserve for water. With, as you said, the mink you saw and the otters I know that swim the river and the fish, but also the birds, and then we have the amphibians. So we actually have what we call a froggy highway, where we are helping to grow the native species of frog with its habitat.
We're able also in that same area, so we've got bird watching, animal watching, floodwater storm storage, and then at the same time we're able to grow plants in there that we use all over the city, native species that we can then take to other parks and plant. And so our public works and parks folks use that as a nursery, as an outdoor natural nursery. So.
Perfect. Nice.
So we're very excited for you to crown this moment.
You know, I'm a water guy, and I love the water. In the past, once I swam around Bainbridge Island. Took a couple of months to do that. I've done a lot of water sports and a lot of swimming, and I love it. I have a sort of a desk job right now, so any day in the water is a good day.
Donning flipper, wetsuit, snorkel, and mask, Mark Powell is getting back in the water, headed downstream, and documenting his own swim, which is called Swim Duwamish. Leaving Kent, Powell hopes to continue to raise awareness of the threats and also opportunities facing the Duwamish watershed as he continues downriver all the way to Puget Sound.